Welcome everybody to episode 8 of our Fill Your Cup with Support Together podcast. My name is Mrs. O and I am joined today, and we've moved seats. On my left I've got Una Mary.
Hello.
And on my right we've got a very special guest. Woo-hoo! We've got Shannon Hollywood, Behaviour Consultant. Woo-hoo! Very, very welcome here today, Shannon.
Thank you very much, Ciara.
How are you getting on? Are you a wee bit nervous?
I am absolutely bricking it.
Oh, but you're grand. Sure, it's just a conversation, a cuppa.
Yes,
That's
just
what we're
a
having
chat.
today.
Mm-hmm.
So Shannon has been a part of our charity now for a while. She's come in and done a few workshops with Support Together. Yeah. She's worked with some of the dads. Had a couple of conversations with her myself over the phone and helped me with different trials and tribulations with my son. So she's a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
She's a mum. She's a mum of 3, 4 if you include her husband. But she's a mum of 3. So she's well reversed. Well, no, not well reversed. Well rehearsed, and knows all about the joys and whatever brings
the ups and
Trials
downs.
and tribulations of parenting.
Yes.
Big time. And you have, I mean, and often we would signpost mums to yourself and your workshops, and my husband even attended one of your workshops. A few of the dads did that night, and he got a lot out of it.
Brilliant. It's so amazing when the dads can come along. It's really, really great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. And it just as often as that aha moment.
Yeah.
And allowing that space, and even for somebody to sit down and just be available if they needed to ask a question, because there's no silly questions.
No silly questions at all.
None. And you're here with your wee crew. You know us well. We have a great relationship. We are absolutely delighted to have you as one of our advisors in the charity, and even a friend of Support Together. And it's your birthday today. Yes. I know this goes out next Monday and it'll not be your birthday, but you've come here on your birthday and you've brought buns.
I know, she brought the buns.
The schools are on strike, so this is a break. I'm like, yes, let's go and do this podcast. Amazing.
Deadly. Well, you're extremely welcome.
Thank you very much.
Shannon, we were just speaking before we left the office today about the amazing post that you put on Facebook last night.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to talk about it, Una?
Well, I suppose it struck me, first of all, the photograph of you and your son dressed up on Halloween. And then when I started reading it, and the fact of, I suppose your son was all excited to be Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He went to school and he came back
Devastated.
And how you took that moment and didn't do what most of us do, is go and change his outfit.
Try and fix it.
Fix it.
Can you talk to us a wee bit about that? Because it made me sit in the gears. I had said to Ciara this morning, she sat and read it. It's sometimes it might be hard for some people to understand.
Yeah.
So do you mind explaining that a wee bit, that we post?
Absolutely. And when I posted it last night as well, and it was getting lots of attention, and I was thinking to myself, I've put up that, and it was a really proud moment for me as a parent, because I didn't get frustrated. I didn't get annoyed with him. I completely sat in his wee emotion with him, helped him right through to the end of that, really calmed down, had a good conversation with him, and we kind of resolved it together.
Yeah.
But just to say that doesn't happen all the time.
Exactly.
That's what I aim for, and that's what I really try to do as a parent. You might get me on other days and like, oh, for goodness sake, right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Let's just go. Or, maybe I don't respond in the best way possible, because none of us are perfect. And I really did feel like I needed to go back and edit that on the post, just to say, look, this is what I aim for. Was a really golden moment, but it doesn't happen all the time. Okay. But yes, I think we really need to allow kids to feel their feelings. And if we go back even to how we have been parented, a lot of the time our feelings were fixed. If we were sad, we maybe got a wee bag of sweets, or we went for a wee ice cream, or we went shopping with our parent in the town on a Saturday, or it was kind of dismissed, wasn't kind of acknowledged. Right, stop that crying now, and that's sort of enough.
Big boys don't cry.
Absolutely.
That sort of stuff, yeah.
And like, our parents were absolutely doing the very best that they could with the level of information that they had. But now we know so much more around how kids' brains are developing, what's going on, and the importance of feeling their feelings. And for my little boy that day, honestly, it broke my heart. He was like, yeah, my outfit isn't cool. And everybody walked away from me. And I was like, oh my goodness, my heart was breaking. But I just was like, okay, we just need to stay calm here. This is normal. This is really hard, what he's feeling. and we'll just sit with that.
Yeah.
Because the more that he has opportunities to feel his big feelings in the safety and security with me as his mummy, he gets to be an adult. He'll be feeling sad or left out or not included, and he'll be like, yeah, whatever. I can manage that. I've got experience of managing that, and it feels not as intense. Whereas I know even for me, because my feelings weren't validated and acknowledged whenever I was little.
Yeah.
So even for me, when I feel angry or not included or left out or any of them big feelings, that's really overwhelming as an adult. So I want to make sure that my kids, whenever they get to adulthood, that they have lots of experience and resilience around managing their whole range of emotions. Anger, jealousy, disappointment, the lot, not just the happy.
And they understand that, that doesn't stay. You have to work through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you're discussing that, when I'm listening to you, we go out and deliver training, and it's called Rainbow of Emotions, and we're going out to adults.
Yeah.
To sit with them and first of all to colorise their emotion, because then they can sit and try and think of that emotion. What colour are they going to give it? There's a reason why we get them to colour it, so they see each emotion as separate, and there's no bad emotions. It's what often we do with them, isn't it? But we're going out to grown adults, and like what you're highlighting is fantastic, because we should be teaching that at a young age. So what actually got you into doing what you're doing? Tell me a wee bit about your background.
Well, I suppose whenever I was growing up, probably just lots of different things that happened early childhood, just like everybody, lots of different experiences that could probably really impacted on me.
Yeah.
So my behaviour as a teenager was up the left. I was doing all the wrong things, taking all the risks, like.
Were you a rebel?
Complete
Sorry,
rebel.
what you had up the left.
Complete rebel, like beyond belief. My poor mummy. I remember one day, oh my word, like I had left the window open in the house so that I could scheme school and I'd be able to get back into the house again.
Oh, that was a good plan, but that was very smart.
And so if any teenagers who listen to this, that's not a good idea. But I had sneaked back anyway, got back to my park, and the window that I'd left open was the upstairs window.
How an undergrad are you going to get up there?
Because I went and took my neighbour's ladder that was lying in the front of his house. But as I was walking round the front of the house, didn't mummy drive in because one of the neighbours had rang her and reported me.
Were you walking in with a ladder?
Oh, come on with a ladder, yeah. So I just dropped the ladder and went to leg it, and she just ripped the handbrake up and opened the door and says, "Shannon, Flood, get into this car right now." And I was like, oh, I'm caught. So I was a complete rebel, my poor mummy, what she did not go through whenever I was a teenager. And I was always very adamant that I wanted to do my social work degree. So I went and done that. It was very, very, I suppose that was always a thing. Mummy always drummed education into me. So I always knew I'm going to go and do something. So done my social work. And I remember sitting in the lecture theatre anyway, and I had this light bulb moment. I'm not bad. I'm not a bad person. I've just had lots of stuff happen to me that's made it really difficult for me to connect with people, make friends, do all of them things that came a lot easier to other people. And this realization just really changed me. It really, really changed me. Then I started to do a lot of self-development work with a local lady in the town, and she was my little saviour. She really was amazing, and I still go to her today. So I've been going to her for 13 years.
Amazing.
She's incredible. So done loads of self-development work, explored my own behaviour, all of that, got really interested in early childhood experiences, how we parent, what that means. And then it just kind of accelerated from there. So I work for a local organisation, and I suppose the way in which we would give out information and advice has changed beyond belief over the past 10 years. Yeah. So what I was advising people to do 10 years ago is not the advice that I would give today. But unless you do a job like mine, how do you know that?
That's right.
It's not given out in schools. You're not taught how to parent in schools. You update your first aid training every so often, but you're not, nobody updates their parenting training. It's the only job in the world you don't actually get any training on. So I suppose I just really wanted to change this, because for me now as a parent, and parenting is incredibly difficult, but for me now as a parent, I often reflect on what I would be like if I didn't know this information versus what I'm like now, and it would be night and day, complete night and day. So I just am really passionate about making sure that parents feel really supported and that they have the information they need to better understand their child's behaviour. Because they're not failing in any way.
No.
You know, I talk to parents like, I'm getting this all wrong. You know, I'm like, my child is their behaviour is like really difficult, and like, what am I doing? And it's normal. A lot of it is normal, you know, and just understanding that is a real game changer for people.
I suppose there what you're saying is the parents are struggling, because I know for me, and whenever I contacted you, it was like I didn't know how to handle it. Yeah. And I suppose you're going by what you've learned from your own parents, and they're going by what they've learned from their parents. Yeah. So it goes back and back and back. And if it's not right, not that it's not right, but there's a better way to do it. Yeah. So we try and do the better way, and it works better for everybody. And we definitely, as you said, you're supporting the parents, and that's why you fit so well with Support Together, because we're also supporting the parents, and then together we're all the big hug. Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Children and young people are fine. It's like supporting parents will completely change the dynamic of their family. It will really support the children and young people. So the more we do that for parents, the bigger hug we give to everybody. Really,
absolutely brilliant, because as you just said there, Ciara, like you are doing similar in the sense of you're holding the mum and dad while they hold the child. Mm-hmm. We hold the mum and dad while they hold the baby and the child. And we walk into the hood so unequipped. There's no, every child is different. We're all individuals, even though you're coming from a family of 5. None of us are like our brother and sister. We might look like, we might have some behaviours that represent, but we're all individuals. And we're trying our best as parents to try and tune in to each of our children's needs. Like I was a parenting officer. That was my title. And I wasn't a parent. I was a young, fresh girl. And I was going out supporting parents and giving them advice. And all my advice was textbook. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest. And I look back at that version of Una, and I feel like, oh my word, Una, seriously, but I tried the best I could, but all my advice was from textbook. Yeah.
I suppose that's where we come down to the lived experience.
It is, and that's yet again with yourself. You are a parent, Shannon, you are 3 kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you're living and breathing the trials, the beauty of parenthood. Yeah. But also the trials.
And it's incredibly difficult. Like you, when I went into parenting, it was that kind of like you had all that textbook knowledge, and I was going to be the best parent that ever walked on 2 feet. Yeah. I was going to be absolutely perfect, and everything was going to be wonderful. And quickly did I not learn that that's not real life at all. So, and I used to run workshops and deliver support before I had kids. Mm-hmm. And I used to be like, just go home and do this. And next week they'd be like, oh no, I haven't been able to do that. And I used to be wondering, why not? What's going on? And then I had kids and was like, oh, I realise now exactly why that's so difficult.
This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast. And we couldn't bring the podcast to you today without the support of Moody Activewear. Moody Activewear creates high quality, functional activewear so that you can feel good doing the things you love. They don't just support your ass, they support your head as well, as they donate 100% of their profits to support women's mental health, such as Support Together. Visit moodyactivewear.co.uk. So it's really changed. I suppose, how do we say this here? It's changed. I was going to ask you, how has it changed, or how did it affect you when becoming a parent? But it's probably it's helped you in both roles, because you've been able to work with your parents better. Yeah. And also see the flip side of being the parent at home.
Absolutely. And I suppose it's helped me connect more with parents to say, yes, it is incredibly difficult. There are things that we can do. Do you know, that sort of way? Mm-hmm. And that's it. Sometimes we can get stuck in the difficulty of it and about how terrible it is, and just kind of go down that way. But actually there's loads of little small things that we can do. And like my advice and support for parents is so simple. Like it's really, we're going right back to basics, and it's wee simple daily things that you do. There's no big fix to anything. There's
but them small simple things make a massive difference.
Massive difference.
And you don't need to go in with a big fix. You don't, I realised this morning, sometimes I throw money at it. And I have a Harry Potter at home, and I would have probably run and went and bought the a different costume so that he would fit in and wouldn't feel that he wasn't fitting in. But now he's realising actually, sitting down with him, and thank God it hasn't happened. But I think that's like something I would have done before going through this and having a better understanding of it.
And I think as parents, we're coming from like a really strict style of parenting, where it was just, stop that crying, or, it was all about kind of your appearance or what people thought.
Yes.
Nearly, it was very strict. There was lots of rules and consequences. So it's really hard now coming from being parenting that way to see your child upset, because you really feel for them. You can feel all of their wee emotion, and you just want to make it better for them. And a lot of the time we have the ability to make it better, but by making it better, we are literally robbing them of that wee experience just to feel supported.
Yeah.
And like, that's more important than anything.
Oh,
really.
100%.
You want to empower.
Yeah.
And that each emotion is there. It's an indicator.
Yeah.
It's telling us there's something going on, or it's a bit like that Inside Out film. We keep signposting mummies to it and some of the dads. And I remember the first time my husband watched it, and he was just blown away. But he done a lot of work on his own emotional well-being, and he got it.
Yeah.
But probably before that, he mightn't have got it. And he came down the stairs and he goes, "Oh my God, wow!" And there's a new one coming out, I believe.
Is there?
And anxiety is going to be
very good.
brought into the house. It should be. But even as you're saying it in your career and your pathway into where it got you, and often we're working with a lot of people. It's the same. They're professional people, and they become parents, and they expect themselves to parent as they do. That they have all this knowledge, and I should be able to do this. Yeah. You park that. You take that cap off you. And I'm thinking of me in the childcare industry, being a nursery nurse, working in daycare, working in schools, working with young ones. And I walked into motherhood. People said to me, "We no bother to you, Una." And secretly, I remember going, "Yeah, I've got this in the bag." Every way I work with,
easy peasy,
delight.
Easy peasy.
I had nothing in the bag. My anxiety was that overwhelming. And it's okay to look after somebody else's child, but you're handing that child back. And that mummy or daddy had to deal with that baby or their needs, nighttime not sleeping well, whatever. And that whole emotional, how it consumes you, take the worry. I didn't have to deal with the worry when I was miting, because you were miting your structure, especially in daycare and sure starting different things. And then walking into motherhood so like, fuck, what was I thinking? And we're working with, when I say this to you, Shannon, we're working with so many people who are professionals, and when they become a mother or father, they actually go down a dark hole quite quick, and don't let anybody know it. And I think that's so sad, and because they think but I should know this, and why am I behaving like this, and why am I? And I go, but you're not your profession. You are a mummy. You're a daddy. You're here with the raw. You're here with the real. And you're trying to navigate your way through it. You're trying to adjust to your child's needs. Love grows, by the way, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. And like, people talk about this big, like, love that you feel for your children. I did not feel that. And like, if Rose ever listens to this, I'm very sorry, Pat, but like, I definitely didn't feel that. I kind of felt very overwhelmed. I didn't really know what to do. I had her like sitting in the wee cot, beside me, and I was too scared to lift her, and she kind of like spat up or something. I was like, oh, somebody come and help me. I didn't want to lift her. And like, compare that then to my third child was complete difference. But like, it was really, really challenging. And I think when you're a professional, the expectation of yourself skyrockets. And that's something that I continue to battle, and like my husband will often say to me, "You are a human being. You are not perfect." And I have to keep hitting that reset button with myself, because I would get very overwhelmed by that. Particularly like my two kids really struggle to go into school. So I get to the school gates and they're like clinging for dear life. And I'm like peeling them off me. And I'm like, I'm meant to be a behaviour consultant. I'm getting really overwhelmed. So like, the expectation when you're a professional just skyrockets, and that doesn't match up with reality. Like real life
Exactly.
is not this expectation that we've all created for ourselves. And it's getting, this unrealistic expectation is totally getting reinforced by social media.
Yeah.
And all these pictures of perfect days out and
fake. Yeah.
It's just not lining up. So
No.
people are more and more overwhelmed. Like, and that's not real life.
And it isn't, and we need a reality check.
We do.
And back to that, what we would hold and host a lot is honest conversations.
Open, honest conversations.
You'd get mummies coming in and they'd mark themselves maybe feeling low at a 4, feeling that they're the worst mummy in the world. I tried to breastfeed, it didn't work, so now I'm forming her, I feel so bad, or I should give him a dummy, or I did this, I did that, I shouldn't have done this, I promised myself I wouldn't, and I've done it, and I've gave in, and I've gave that. And when you give them that arena to sit down and be self and be heard and held, they walk back out of there and they'd mark themselves that they're sitting maybe with a 7. Yeah. So that's massive.
Massive.
Honest conversations. We're all trying to get our shit together. With different ages and stages, Shannon, and you would talk a lot about that. The expectations that we have of children
are way
their
too
age
high.
and stage.
Yeah, way
Jesus
too
is not
high.
even meeting that.
Way too high. And it is, I think it's really important that, parents, I completely lost my train of thought now what I was going to say, but it's just really important that parents have the information that they need to bring them expectations down. To be like, actually, it's normal that my 2-year-old hits, kicks and bites and heads bangs and tries to run off. It's normal that my 4-year-old also does that. It's normal that my 3-year-old doesn't want to leave me, even though they might have been going to daycare. Fine, up until this point.
Yeah.
It's normal that my 5-year-old's talking about death all the time. Like, all of these ages and stages are normal things that your children are passing through, but they just need your support. And I think, and I suppose just bearing in mind that you're in a relationship with your child. Relationships are not perfect. They're messy as we're trying to get to know one another. And I suppose a really important point to make is that children don't need perfect parents.
No.
If you are a perfect parent, you are doing a disservice to your child, because relationships aren't perfect. They need to experience what it's like to fall in and fall out of that relationship, for things to get difficult and for it to be repaired afterwards. And I think what we know now, and what's really helped me as a parent, things are definitely not perfect in our house. There's times where I don't even like my children.
Yeah.
And I love
husband.
them dearly. Oh, that's it. I love my husband very dearly. There's times I don't like him. I love my kids dearly. There's times I don't like them. That's the nature of relationships. But I know now how to repair it. Like, if I've done something where I'm not happy with it, I've shouted or I've spoke to them in a way that's not okay, I will always go back and repair that. That's what children need. They need us to own our behaviour. They need us to show up and be in a relationship with them. They don't need us to be perfect.
Today's conversation with Shannon has been amazing. So much so that we'll see you next week for part 2. This is Fill Your Cuppa, the Support Together podcast. Brought to you by me, I'm the host, Mrs. O, Ciara Una, and my co-hosts Una Leonard and Gemma Cassidy. Today we are supported by Moody Activewear and produced by 9874 Creative.